Yeah, these are coming out nice, just about what I expect. Nice and elongated. Not quite enough yet. I'm going to cut a few more. I want to make sure I have more than enough, just in case some of them crack. Some she doesn't like the shape. There's lots of little things that can go wrong with these. So that's kind of where we're going to go with these. So continue to watch so you can see what I'm making. But let's keep moving. Okay, old man with a plan here. I've set up my trusty planer here. Now these rounds and stuff, I'm going to plane up to make them level and to smooth them up a little bit. That way, when I had the chainsaw, I don't think I got them always equal distance. They're pretty close, some of them, and some of them aren't. But I need to plane these down. In order to plane them down with this planer, I do not want a big neck here, so I'm going to put a board underneath it. That keeps it straight, and also, if you're feeding it through, it has a tendency to want to go down on the other side and catch on that. We don't want it to do that, so I am going to put a board on here. I don't really like to do each one separately, but they're kind of different thicknesses, so I'm going to. This board, it'll slide across. It's got a nice finish on it. It's just a board I have laying around. So what I will do is get ready to plane. I have the board down to keep this flat, and I will raise this up enough where this fits underneath it. And I just want it to just grab a little bit here. So I'm going to take it down some. I got it up above. Okay, now that should work. I'm going to cut there first. So let's give it a try. Okay, now I got both sides planed down. You see there's some rough here, a little bit of rough here, but it's cut down. It's just that this wood is not real dry. That's causing it, and plus it's old wood. It was actually an old log that was laying down up in my woods at camp, so I just cut it. I did earlier, you've seen me cut it with the chainsaw. That side's done. This side must be wetter or something because it didn't come out as nice. Now I'm going to plane them down where they're as smooth as I can. Now I did reduce the amount of turns I did in this. I mean, I started out at about a half a turn, which is a 30/2 of an inch. Then I went down to a quarter turn, which is a 64th, to smooth it out. I wanted to make sure I got them flat first, so at least they sit flat on the table. Now, I'll probably let them dry a little bit more, and then maybe take a sander, whatever side my wife decides to use. I mean, there is different. This side doesn't have quite as much. You've got that knot coming out. This side you can use, and it's bigger. So it's going to be up to her. And then at that point, I will decide. I will sand them down for a little bit with a real quick electric sander. It doesn't have to be perfect, but she does want to use these. Not too long, in 2 weeks, so I'm going to get them planed down today so they dry a little more. She picks them out. I cut a lot of them. I cut, it looks like about 40 of them. Some of them are round ones, and then I'm going to cut these out, let them dry, and we'll go from there. I'm going to start on the next one now. First thing is, like in the other one, raise it up. This one I'm a little bit worried about because it's got a crack in it. I don't know whether she's going to want it or not. As these dry, we are going to get some cracks in these, I'm sure. I think I'm going to put this one to the side. Number one, I don't want it chipping out on me. I think I'll put my glasses on to make sure that nothing ends up in my eyes. I'll use this one instead. That's a thick one. So I tried to cut them the same width, but as you see, this one's quite a big difference. I am going to have to plane on one side. I think I'm going to try to start to keep the, let's see, this, I'll plane this off pretty flat first, and then we'll flip it over. So I'll take the high side in, make sure it fits underneath, crank it down so it just barely hits. Okay, it's hitting there. I'm gonna go get my glasses. Now, as you heard and seen, this one I started having trouble going through, so instead of taking that half a turn, which is a 32nd of an inch, I have to start reducing it down so it cuts and goes through better. So I'm only going to be taking, 64ths at a time. Makes it longer, but it's also not going to chip out. As you see, I already have some chips here. Looks like a little bit of a crack is forming here, but we'll see what happens. Hey, I got this side pretty much flat now. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip over back to the other side and get the rest of that down. Now, this is hard on a planer knives or hard to cut because it is the end grain. I mean, you're going against the grain. If you're doing a board, you're going with it, so it makes a nice, smoother job when you're done. But this is what I have, and this is what you want, so this is what I'm going to work for. Like I said, I need to take this down to make that even there. And then this side is definitely finishing better than this side, so I am going to continue down on this side. Okay, we're going to say this one's done. It's going to lay flat. And it looks okay on both sides. It'll need some sanding. All these will need some sanding. This end grain is not planing up as well. Maybe it is time I got my knife sharpened, but even if I reduce it to not even just a 32nd, a 64th of a cut, it's not. We'll try it once on each side to see if it smooths it out anymore. All right, I know you got an idea what I'm doing. I'm not going to make you suffer through all 40 of these, me planing them out. I just wanted to make sure you got a good idea of what I'm doing. And I'm going to continue to plane these, and then next is going to be a little bit of sanding. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly touch up the edges. Sticking out too bad. My wife came out and picked out which side she wants facing up. I want to grab some more 80, some rough to finish these up. Seems to be, I know it's catching on some of these things, and it's kind of ripping apart the sandpaper a little bit more than I would like it to. And you can look at this wood and see that it's not quite dry enough. It could use, it needs some more time to dry out. And then it would sand down better and a little bit, but I don't have time to let it dry out because These are supposed to be used this Thursday, and it's Sunday today. So I have to go away for the week. So I have to get these ready to go today. After I was finished sanding them, I blew them off with my air hose and a nozzle just to get them nice and clean. I didn't sand them off real good. I just went with a rough sandpaper just to take the rough edges off and to go around the outside and make sure I wouldn't have any splinters or sharp edges or anything like that. The next step is going to be the actual staining. Like I said, I'm not going to put no great finish on this. I'm just going to quickly put a matte finish on these. I would have preferred a gloss finish, but unfortunately, I didn't have very much of that on hand. I had this matte finish, which I used on another project, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, these are going to just be one-time use. I'm not going to get excited on sanding them down and everything else. They'll just be thrown away when we're done. I did have some polyurethane left over from a previous job. I'm going to go ahead and use it. I already did. You see me just put it on. It is a matte finish, which isn't going to give you that glossy shine, but it will put a little bit of a sealer on it to make it look a little bit better, make it look a little more finished. I put the brush in some brush cleaner. Now this is supposed to dry in an hour. It's a quick drying, which I kind of like that. I kind of like this quick drying stuff because it allows me to put a couple coats on quickly. I mean, I have a lot of time. I don't, I hate to come back out and wait 4 hours, come back out and sand and everything else. This allows me to put on quick coats. That's why I throw in a little bit of brush cleaner so the brush doesn't mess up. And then I'll put this on a second coat. We'll see what it looks like, 2 coats. Like I said, this is a one-time use issue. It's actually for a church function. My wife requested I make these. So this is what I made, and we'll see the finished product here soon. I will paint these or stain them again in an hour, and we'll go from there. Okay, first coat came out pretty good. I mean, at least you can tell there's a coat of something on it. So it's kind of Yeah, it made it look a little better. Now I'll put a second coat on it. And then that'll be it, because that should just about empty out this what I had left over. Hopefully, I think I'll have enough. Now I cut these from that old log that had been laying down for, I don't know, over a year or so. So they were a little wet inside. They were, some of the were showing some signs of bad rot. Those ones I just kind of cut off, and I'll make firewood out of them to use around the campfire. And I've had to throw a couple of them away or not use them because they cracked real bad from drying out. So these are not as dry as I would like them. I've laid them on the floor here on some wood. I didn't put them right in the concrete because I know the concrete doesn't always dry things the best. So I had some plywood, actually the stuff it's laying on the base, or on the garage floor, to try to get them to dry out some. They did dry out some. Not as much as I would have liked them to. Here we go. We'll go right down the line. A little bit fatter, a little bit skinnier, a little bit rounder. See, they're all different, have knots in different places. They all a little different. That's what makes them very unique. Just like everybody I know, a little different. A little bit different. Some of us have had some health issues and we get little scars. Some of us have definite branches that come out. Some of us have been chipped and hurt. Other ones, like I said, everyone is very, very unique. Ooh, look at that one. That one's a little bit more round. But with the two branches coming out of it, more round one with a little bit of a mark, a nice scar. That one a little more oblong. A lot of the oblong ones is because I cut them. I mean, I remember showing you how I cut the oblong ones. And there, that's the last one. And I'll wait a few minutes and look for any drips. And then I'll come back out in an hour and do another round. Old man with a plan here. I wanted to show you what I made a whole bunch of these for. Now, my wife made a whole bunch of gingerbread houses. She made 20 of these, and it was used for a church social where there was 15 couples. She didn't need all 20 of them, but she made 20 of these. These are actually made out of graham crackers, and they made their own little things here, and they actually had you'll see in the pictures later on where they voted with cops to see which was the winner. So they had a dinner, then they made these gingerbread houses, then they voted on who was the best. It was just a fun night for everybody from what I understand. This is a view of a couple of the houses that were finished, and now they're voting on them. This is the only use you can use these for. Here's another one. There's lots of things you can use them for depending upon the finish. If you want to use them for food, you could even use them for food as long as you put the right type of finish on them. You can use them for decorating. You can see they would work just about for anything. I have a couple of decorations right here. My wife set out. You can see you can put a little bit of anything on them, and they'll fit into whatever you have. I mean, I'm sure most people can find out something to use them for. But they were handy. They were extremely cheap to make. The wood I found at my homestead, and I just cut them, and I cut it at an angle as you've seen in the video in order to, I brought it home, then just put a quick stain on it, and the stain that I had laying around. So it cost me next to nothing to make. But you can multi-uses for these, and they're very easy to make, and they're decorative, they're unique. And that's wrapping this one up. But I want to thank you for viewing. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Anybody that hasn't subscribed yet, please consider it. It is free, doesn't cost you anything, and you can help an old man out. So if you would like it and you comment, please, I enjoy comments. And subscribe if you can. So this is the Old Man with a Plan. See you later.